I was so frustrated by my sister-in-law's behavior regarding my wedding that I ended up reading a whole collection of posts on entitled wedding guests and realized that she fit right in with those. My partner and I decided to ask his niece to be a junior bridesmaid so as to avoid problems with family politics. The first sign of drama was when her mother, my sister-in-law, suggested that I make her my junior maid of honor because she had a special relationship with me. More so, apparently, than the other junior bridesmaids. This was news to me, and what the duck even is that? Then, I was asked to give her a job to do so she felt important. I wasn't keen on this because of the added complexity, but nevertheless figured something out to avoid problems. A couple of months down the track, when nothing had been done, I queried it and was told that she was completely overwhelmed and suffering extreme anxiety, and the burden I had placed on her was unfair. The job? Choosing from a selection of 3 different earrings for the junior bridesmaids, which I had confirmed with her mother was appropriate before asking. I apologized, with a lot of eye-rolling, and withdrew the job. I was then accused of not making her feel important enough. I was then asked by sister-in-law if I could arrange to have robes for my bridesmaids because her daughter wanted them, and it was specified to me what slogan should be on them. I was livid and refused, but was then told that sister-in-law would buy one for, only, her daughter if I wouldn't do it. So I went out and organized the robes so I wasn't faced with the situation of 2 other little girls sobbing because they missed out, and that brat prancing around, rubbing their noses in it. And also, so I didn't end up with a tacky slogan designed by an 11-year-old. Then we got to the food. His niece wanted McDonald's at the reception. I explained that this would not be possible, that the restaurant would not allow external food to be brought in, and frankly, neither would I, because unless a guest has a medical issue, it's just downright rude. I was told that she had to be allowed to get McDonald's because that's all she'll eat, and she couldn't go hungry. I told her it simply wasn't possible. Sister-in-law then threatened not to attend the wedding if we wouldn't accommodate her daughter. I removed them from the bridal party and told them where to go. The response? So what are you going to do about the food? Response? Enjoy it, of course. What will you be eating, as you are not welcome to join us? You were far too kind and should have booted her at the first sign of trouble. Never let family politics drive your wedding. McDonald's at the reception? And that's all she eats? Yikes. Update. The wedding hasn't happened yet, so I foresee more drama before it does. She's been told that there is no room to move on the food and to deal with it herself. She's also been told not to sabotage it for the other junior bridesmaids, which is something that I am worried about, now that she will see her daughter is actually excluded from the whole thing. I also think the stuff will hit the fan when it becomes clear they are all still getting the party favors. I doubt they will come, and I don't think she had any intention of attending unless her daughter could be the center of attention. It really is like her daughter is the bride with all the demands. I would uninvite her myself and have been harsher earlier, but she is my partner's only living close adult relative. He has his kids, but they are children, so it's different. And it is important to him that she attend. He has been through a lot in the last couple of years, and it's important to me that I look after him and that he's happy. So I'm happy to take on the burden of dealing with issues and make sacrifices. To a point. The junior maid of honor situation was particularly appalling because if anyone would be promoted to that, it would be his daughter, not his niece. But still, what the duck? I've never even heard of such a thing. Sister-in-law is extremely entitled and thinks the whole world revolves around her, and I think she's teaching her daughter the same thing. There was another incident with the dresses that I had completely forgotten about. I did not want traditional bridesmaids, so I had told everyone that they could choose a dress they really wanted, pursuant to coordinating it with me so it was appropriate, and they all worked together. I was also happy to pay for the outfits because I really don't like the expectation that people participate in a wedding pursuant to my requirements and have to spend their own money to do so, especially when it's an expensive wedding. I said 3 things. No navy. No one shoulder, no splits. Sister-in-law, also a bridesmaid, without checking with me, went and bought herself a one-shoulder navy dress with a side split. It clashed with my sister's dress, the actual maid of honor, and the junior bridesmaid dresses. My mother, sister, and I spent hours and hours reorganizing the other dresses to make it work. Not just to match her, but because she looked like the damn maid of honor instead of my sister. We also pissed thousands of dollars up against a wall doing this. I was petrified that if I told her not to wear that dress, she would do it just to spite me. And we decided to keep my sister's new dress private so she couldn't get something else to upstage her again. I am lucky because we are in a financial position to do this. We're not zillionaires, but we both have well-paying jobs and investments. But I certainly resented it, and that is not something that is usually possible for people. I'm tempted now to send her a bill. My little sister is the most entitled person I know. She's 20 years old and relies so much on family it's ridiculous. They pay for her groceries. She likes to eat very expensive healthy food. They let her use one of their cars because she hasn't gotten her own. They take care of her dog for her, food, walks, vet, etc. They pay for absolutely everything. She has no actual bills because they cover them all. She desperately needs to move out, but I don't think she'd make it. And yes, 20 is young, but she's acting like an immature 14-year-old, and she needs a rude wake-up call. So this girl is insisting that she gets a special dress to wear as my maid of honor, and not just a different color or a slightly different dress from the other bridesmaids. But she wants to be in a dress as fancy as mine, because it's her big day. And sure, she says that jokingly, but you can tell that there is a part of her that thinks that. With most people, I wouldn't be that annoyed, but she also mooches off of our parents and demands they buy her absolutely everything. She wants to go to a Bible school in another country and wanted my parents to pay for it. Thing is, she already did a Bible school. She just didn't finish because of drama and unhealthy relationships. They paid for that one already. She refuses to get a normal job. She currently works for my parents, but isn't super reliable or consistent. The only time she actually works hard is when she is volunteering, doing mission work. She's otherwise super lazy. She constantly complains about money and will jokingly ask me for money. She then gets mad when I refuse. But I'm sorry, I work my butt off for my money, and I have real-life expenses. This Christmas, I am not getting presents for anyone. My family is large, and quite frankly, I can't afford it. I have a wedding and life to save up for. Normally, I love giving big gift packages, usually worth about $200, so I'm definitely not doing that for a while, to save money. Well, my sister is mad because since she got one last year and one for her birthday, and she feels entitled to another one this year, she's acting like an actual child about it. I get being disappointed, but you don't have the right to be mad that someone can't afford to get you something. She has asked my partner for money for a belly button piercing while she's trying to save up for a trip that she was expecting other people to help with, while she was just staying at home, chilling all day. She got annoyed at him when he said no. She is currently trying to save up for a trip and keeps asking me to buy her clothes because she, quote, needs to be cute. She will often act like she's joking about asking for stuff, but everyone knows she's not actually joking. Makes me angry that my parents put up with it all and give in to her just because they don't want the drama. Basically, she acts like she has the right to everyone else's money, but she won't work to get her own. She's lazy and wants to be the center of attention always, even on my own wedding day. Edit. I told my sister that she will wear the dress I choose or is out. She just likes to throw a fit. I also told her she could wear a different dress, but only if I choose it, and then showed her the ugliest dress I could find. She was not amused. I am picking my battles and have tried to work this out to have the least amount of drama, because any way we do this will cause some issues. I do want her as my maid of honor. I just don't want the drama that comes along with it. Honestly, she isn't ballsy enough to be a bee in front of 100 people on the day. She won't want to look bad. She just wants attention and wants to feel special, as if being maid of honor isn't special enough. The situation is complicated. I do want my sister to be my maid of honor. I'm just not giving in to her because she's being a brat. I just don't want her drama. So trying to balance that is hard. Having her in my wedding is a last-ditch attempt to fix my relationship with her before it's too late. She hasn't been getting her way when it comes to the wedding, and I'm hoping that it shows her that it's not always about her. I also obviously didn't share everything about my relationship with her and with my family, because it doesn't all pertain to being entitled. So some of my decisions won't make sense to y'all. But trust me, I know what I'm doing when it comes to navigating situations to do with her. There is also a lot more stuff that she does, but it's less entitled stuff and just ridiculousness. She gets away with a lot of crap because she's the family favorite and she's hella attractive. Because it's her big day. No, it's not. It's yours and your partner's, and she needs to be taken down a peg if she's going to be that annoying about it. I hope you can get your parents to refuse her just this once and tell her that if she wants to be a bridesmaid, she needs to wear the bridesmaid outfit. If she chooses not to be a bridesmaid, you will understand. Have bouncers to refuse her entrance if she shows up in a bridal gown of her own. They can pretend they thought she was a stranger trying to steal your venue afterwards. Your parents may be trying to play favorites, but they really are not. What they are doing is destroying her future. What happens when they die or the money runs out? Imagine how absolutely incapable she will be when asked to work the simplest job or pay for her own needs. Realize that she will spend the rest of her life miserable and in want. After moving back from across country, I and my 3 kids were either taking the bus or paying for rides from family and friends. My sister had a 15-ish-year-old full-size van that she offers to me for $500. I jumped on this as I was working the late shift and wouldn't need to bother anyone for a ride 8 miles both ways. After getting the van legal and insured, I was able to drive it for 3 or 4 months. Then the front axle breaks while I'm driving it. I was back to square one because getting it fixed would cost around $3,000 to $4,000, and I was living paycheck to paycheck. Since I lived in an apartment complex, I had to get it off the property within 30 days. I ended up calling a friend who scraps the van and hauls it off. My sister is driving by as they are loading it. I was at work and get a phone call from the sheriff's department saying my sister is accusing me of stealing her van. After I get back to my apartment, I get the van title and go to the police station where my sister is waiting. I also call my friend that hauled off the van. The sheriff starts in on me and I just hand him the van title and the bill of sale. My friend then shows him the scrap sale papers and the VIN photo, which proves I'm in the clear. Needless to say, my dear sister was threatened with arrest for wasting police time and false accusations. She sounds like a textbook narcissist, to be honest. Their ability to use logic isn't employed in such arguments. Their only goal is to be seen as right in the argument, by any mental gymnastics necessary. Arguments against their points are taken as personal attacks. They often don't process the actual arguments. They only interpret the arguer as enemy and counterattack with ad hominem insults, often unexpectedly vicious ones, even in response to friendly mundane questions about points they had made. I don't think your sister had a plan beyond being convinced she could manipulate the police into thinking she was the real victim. Speaking of, they also love to darvo everyone they do wrong to, deny their wrongdoing, accuse the target of their wrongdoing as being the wrongdoer, and claim themselves to be the true victim of the situation, reversing who holds the roles of victim and offender. A third textbook narcissist thing she is doing is smearing you to family. If they can't force you to obey them, they can't hurt you directly, and they will instead attack your image to mutual family and friends, to try to hurt you by hurting your reputation and relationships with these people. For context, my half-sister and I have never gotten along due to lies she spread about my father, but that's for another story. I also cut her out of my life for about a year because of a fight. Story: I recently unblocked my sister from social media, hoping we can mend our relationship. Our grandparents wanted to take me out to dinner for graduating high school and asked me if I'd be inviting my sister. I didn't want her to make a big deal out of not being invited, so I begrudgingly invited her. She decided to take over planning the dinner and the location. I had suggested the location before, but thought it may be too expensive, so I had another suggestion on the table. She brings her baby. She gave birth 8 months ago. Her boyfriend and her dad. Not my dad. I have nothing against this, and the dinner goes smoothly. Everyone is cooing over my nephew, but I don't really mind. As we leave, we stop to take pictures at the entrance of the restaurant. My entitled sister gets everyone to hold her baby, except me. I again brushed this off, since I'm not good with babies. After the photos are done, I felt pressure to invite her to my graduation, so I did. Here is where the drama begins. All is well until the next day when I check Facebook. My grandmother had reposted a post from my sister. It was all about her baby and his great-grandparents, and it included the pictures taken last night. No mention as to why we were at such a fancy restaurant to meet a baby. No congratulations or mention of me in the post either. I get really upset at this and start crying because she has done this multiple times before, making things about herself, and I thought she had matured after having the baby. My dad helps to calm me down and suggests I uninvite her from the graduation since she hasn't received her ticket yet. I do so in tears because I hate causing drama and fighting. I'm not a confrontational person. She starts going off on me, saying how I was never there for her when she was pregnant. How could I be? She lived in a different state. I was in high school full-time and we were still no contact. She starts wailing about what a bad aunt I am, as I never held my nephew, even though she didn't let me. I tell her to can it and stop talking, as I was tired of fighting and don't wish to fight anymore. That seemed to shut her up, But she still tried to get my uncle and grandfather to come home early for my graduation. What happened after? She blocked my dad and me on all social medias and probably cried wolf to my family. I blocked her back. That was the last I heard from her and will be the last time I see her in my life since I'm moving away. Better off without them dragging you down. Family doesn't mean anything. Toxic people get dumped. My dad told me I wasn't his son for my graduation from high school. Now, I treat family the same way they treat me. I'll get in touch if I need something. Luckily, now I'm better off than most of them, so I'll never have to. Good relationships are formed through effort and love, not given at birth like a last name. Be free and flourish.